you really don't even have to write material. It's just a
Yeah,
matter of, hey, I'm going to find you all the funny stuff, so I'll be the resource.
right.
And then my side thing is, hey, come see me at a show, or
Yeah.
hey, buy my DVD.
Yeah, I think there's a misconception that this stuff has to take a lot of time, and it doesn't necessarily have. It has to take some time, but it doesn't necessarily have to take that much time. You could spend a half hour a day, just share one video or picture or little story or something, and you would be doing something to give people a reason to come back to your website. And I think one other thing that I want to say, because I know that we've, a lot of what we're talking about is, oh, why don't comedians get it, and why don't they do this or do that? I think it's also important to say that it's not their fault. We talked about this, I think, before we were recording, that there isn't, up to this point, there hasn't been a lot of resources out there to teach comics and explain to comics why this matters, how to do it, what they can do. But I think you're starting to see bubbling up. I know that's why I started Connected Comedy. I know that you're covering a lot of the same kind of materials. And I would encourage guys that, look, okay, fine, you haven't done it up to this point. You're not exactly sure what to do, but there are now resources out there that you can, without, every day I put a post on my blog. It doesn't cost anything to read it. It doesn't, other than, take some time and read it. And, learn from it. And, I'm trying to provide a resources of, hey, here's some stuff that you can do to do this, so that now, my hope is that with what I'm doing and what guys like you are doing, that, we're filling the void of that lack of information. And now that it's out there, it's really up to comics to check it out and try to make an effort or implement some of it.
Right, and you even have a connected 20. So for
Yeah.
people to and that's the whole business model. Like you're doing the bit, like it's kind of like meta in the way that if you just look at what you're doing when it comes to marketing, that's what comedians should be doing with their fans. Like yeah, you're writing a blog post every day to help out comedians, but what's your end goal? Well, you want the comedians to kind of like maybe hire you as a PR
Yeah.
person, or training or coaching
Yeah. I
or
mean,
something to that.
yeah, I mean, definitely. It's funny you mentioned that, because that is, I view, just like you had said that you need to kind of practice what you preach. I had viewed Connected Comedy in the blog as a showcase for all the things that I believe work. And that's why when I do something like recently, I launched a Connected Comedy Tumblr page, as opposed to just saying to people, hey, I'm on Tumblr, follow me. I did a post that's like, here's why I decided to go on Tumblr. Here's what you're going to get if you follow me on Tumblr. Here's why I think this is a good thing for comedians to do. And, to be honest, Connected Comedy, I started it a few months ago. I have built I'm really pleased with the way it's grown and the feedback I've gotten.
And you do great on Facebook, by the way. Your Facebook fan page is very,
Yeah,
very engaging.
I've been through it, but what's interesting about it is, I have put in time. I committed to basically write a post every day, and I'm doing that. But obviously I put in time working with clients and talking to them and that kind of thing. But I have not spent a lot of money. The only money I've spent to market and grow Connected Comedy was a Facebook ad. I've spent about $500 total.
But you don't even need to do that. I mean, like
Yeah.
literally, like even if like a domain name is $10 a year or $11 a year on GoDaddy.
Mhm.
I mean that's hosting. I mean if you want a HostGator, I always recommend HostGator for like $7.95 a month. I mean
Yeah.
like in this day, it just makes no sense when because I do talk to comedians about like how much does this cost, how much do you do this, and it's like when I tell them stuff like Aweber, I mean that's for the mailing list stuff, and I talk to them about I'm like, and they're like, wow, $19 a month for an email list, or
Right.
and I suggest a Mailchimp because that goes up to 2,000 for
Yeah.
free. But I mean, like the domain name, like hosting, $7.95 a month. And it's like, wow, like this is going to cost $120. I'm like, how much did you just spend on headshots? How much did you just spend on
Right.
gas getting to a gig you were only getting paid $50 for? Like
Right.
we're talking about setting up a legitimate business for less than $100, if
Yeah, I
that.
mean, I was talking to a comedian the other day who had, he's had a mailing list that he's been developing over the years. It has between 4,000 and probably like 4,500 names on it. He was running it off of a Yahoo group, and beyond that problem, a lot of the names on it were kids in college. So he has no idea how many of the emails are even live or dead or anything.
Right. There's no analytics. There's no open rates. There's no
There's
nothing.
no nothing, and he had basically he had this mailing list, or this Yahoo group, and he had kind of gotten to the point where he was basically like abandoning it because he was like, I feel like I sent something, I don't think anybody gets it, and I was kind of talking to him saying, well, you realize that there's other options, that you can have all of that data, and to just kind of throw your hands up and say, well, I don't know what to do, I guess I won't have a mailing list, is not a great solution. And, and he's now switched over, and, I'm helping him kind of sort that out and get it to a more functional place. But, yeah, you're right. It doesn't take a lot other than a desire to try to do this stuff, and, and willingness to put in a little bit of time to do it.
Right. And it's not the Dane Cook model of a lot of
Yeah.
comedians would say. It's like, oh, so I don't want to just be all marketing and no talent.
Right.
It's like
Right.
to me when I hear comedians that say that, that's
Yeah.
just to me that's an excuse for why not to do it. Like I'm
Yeah.
gonna find that one example of, oh, everyone makes fun of Dane Cook because he went on MySpace and he did a lot of the social media concepts before even the social media people did it.
Right.
Like, and he did it well. I'm not a big fan of Dane Cook. He does what he does well, but I don't necessarily find him funny. But when comedians use that as the example of, oh, I just don't want to be one of those people that all they do is marketing and they really have no act. It's like,
Right. Well, and it's
you
also,
don't
yeah,
have
it's
to
funny
be.
because and I think that that's a good point too, that people don't realize that just because you market and promote your stuff, and just because you want to build and connect with your fan base, that has zero impact on your act. Your act is your
Right.
act.
Well, they consider it a time thing. They just it's all excuses on not to take action, and that's the only I if you could get if any comedian listening to this, or anyone that's listening to this could get out of anything that we're saying, is just do something,
Yep.
and you could learn from there. That I mean, you're someone that was in the marketing industry. I'm just a fucking schmuck comedian that happens to, hey, I enjoy this marketing stuff, but I didn't. No one gave me permission to learn this or anything. I did it the same fucking way that I'm telling everyone, that we're telling them. Do something, see what happens, see what works, tweak it, try something else, and you'll fall into something that, hey, this whatever I'm doing is working. I don't know really how, and then you get
Right.
you get help from people like you, Josh at connectedcomedy.com. I'm assuming comedians could like email you or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I there's a variety of different. I understand that. I understand that comedians, they're not sitting on mountains of money, and so I have created a bunch of different services and ways to work with people, going everywhere from the free content, which is on the site, of which there is a ton, to low price stuff to help you just promote your projects, to more in-depth strategy and consulting, and kind of getting you where you need to be. So by all means, if anybody has any questions or wants help, email me. My email is josh@connectedcomedy.com. You can check out the Facebook page, facebook.com/connectedcomedy. The Twitter is @connectcomedy. I love, even if they just have a question or anything, I'm one of the most rewarding parts of this for me so far has been, this gives me an excuse to talk to more comics, to really understand where they're coming from, to get a sense of what their challenges are, and it's helped me understand more and help me really service both them and the whole kind of connected comedy community much better. So I'm very open and eager to talk to people.
And that's why I enjoy talking to you, and I enjoy reading your
Yep.
blog, because you see comedy from the marketing side, and I kind of see I like, just like you said, like I tend to see what the comedian mind really thinks about,
Yeah.
and I see that in the first 13 years of me doing comedy, that I am the dinosaur. Like I know exactly, like I every objection, I know exactly what it
Right.
is, because that was me. It may not have necessarily been about specifically about social media, but in the aspect of, I was striving to get that weekend spot at the comic strip in New York, even though it was only paid $50. It's like, well, it's a status symbol, but like, what the fuck does that really do?
Right.